Thank you for joining the Northern Miner here at the Rural Resource Investment Symposium in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm pleased to introduce Empress Royalties CEO Alexandra Woodier-Chiron. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's all right talking again.
Yes. So let's start by introducing Empress Royalty to those viewers who are less familiar with the company. What does your portfolio look like, and what's your business model?
Yeah, so we are a royalty and streaming creation company, purely focused 100% on gold and silver. We currently have 4 key cornerstone assets in our portfolio. Those generated $8 million in revenue last year, and we're forecasting to potentially double that this year, just with those 4 key investments. They're ramping up, they're increasing their production profiles, and obviously with the leverage to gold and silver price, we should be seeing that increase.
Do you want to name those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got the Talahuela Silver Stream in Durango, Mexico, which is owned by Luca Mining. We have the Galaxy Mine in South Africa, which we put $5 million into last year. They had a mill. We're helping them expand production there and getting some new underground equipment. We have the Mozambique project called Manica. That was a $3 million investment we made a couple of years ago when they were in development stage. They're now in production. We've received over or close to $5 million US from that investment alone. And then we have, which was our first producing mine, the Cerro Antipiti mine in Peru, operated by a private group called Sierra Sun. And that was another one where there was a mill or operations already going, and they needed expansion capital to get their mill from 750 tons to 1,000 tons. And those really are, I think, great classic examples of how we invest. We really do deploy into near-term or producing assets, and it's very focused on revenue generation for us.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit more about what really makes your model then unique compared to your competitors?
Yeah, I'll break that into 2 parts. I'll sort of explain the different types of royalty companies, and then I can explain why we set up Empress, and it kind of ties into it. So there's different types of royalty and streaming companies. There's the exploration generation, early stage. Who knows if it will turn to a mine? If it does, there's a long lead time to revenue generation. There are companies buying third-party royalties or existing royalties. It's a very crowded place. You're typically paying a premium and historically getting lower returns for those. And you also don't have a direct relationship with the company. So we're on the creation side, like the project financing side. We directly invest with the companies. So we have that direct relationship. We're able to do extensive due diligence, which I think we'll talk about in a few minutes. But with that creation model, we can target companies that we are known to us and bring them into production. And it's very much a focus. And that really stems from the fact that the team that has a strong mining finance structure background. You know, we set up Empress, close to 5 years ago with a concept. I'm Endeavor Financial, which is the world's leading investment banking firm. And David Rhodes and I were seeing the streaming companies were doing bigger investment sizes. The Wheaton's 100 million plus, and no one was providing that same size or that same financing solution to the junior side of the market. It's been tough for juniors to get into production. Banks are less available and very restrictive. Equity dilution, if they even have access to equity. So that's where we've been stepping in and finding that solution and providing it to the market.
Right.
So the real idea was launch it. We did that with a strategy. We've layered in now the 4 revenue generating assets and want to continue to grow the portfolio.
Mm-hmm. All right. So can you perhaps share some examples of how this model has actually benefited some of your clients then in recent market conditions?
Yeah, exactly the thing. So they've been able to ramp up their production, capitalize on the fact that the commodity prices are higher, especially, for example, the one in Peru. And it really is just sort of building that network out as we've been doing and then being able to help fund these opportunities.
Yes. Okay. So it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an important thing there is opportunistic, and we're getting great returns as a result, but it has to work for them as well. We need them to be successful for us to be successful. And having that direct relationship that we get monthly reporting. We have, in most cases, monthly technical calls with their team. We'll work with them because it's junior mining and things don't always go according to plan. So we're able to be flexible and structure with them. We understand their bigger long-term goals, and that really is a key element for us, is that bespoke financing that matches the needs of the company that we're helping.
Okay, that's very interesting. So you mentioned that you recently reported record revenue of about $8 million US.
Yeah.
So how do you grow on that momentum?
So we've got the $8 million US was for 2024. We're forecasting, as I said earlier, to double that in 2025. we are now able to, we put a press release out yesterday that we have a binding term sheet on a gold and silver royalty in Utah for $3 million. We're able to self-fund that with the cash and gold we've been receiving, silver we've been receiving. So this is a monumental moment for Empress. We're now reinvesting the money that we're receiving into new opportunities. We also have a debt facility with Nabari, which will allow us for $20 million to even further grow the portfolio. So we have been patient in deploying our capital into investments we feel very strongly about. And then, as we grow, we want to bring more into the portfolio. We're currently got 4, about to have 5. We want to get 6, 7, 10 and have that real diversification in there.
How would you characterize the availability of opportunities in your snack bracket there?
It's been really good. We go through a very rigorous due diligence process. So that means we're not only doing desktop reviews, we get a site, we hire third-party engineers who are specialists in that area. And it has to tick all those boxes before we even get into legal, tax, and financial review. So these deals take time. We know we have a high rejection rate, unfortunately, or fortunately, because we're all large shareholders in this. Endeavor, Tara, myself, we want to make sure these deals make sense to do them.
Okay, yes. So talking about due diligence, what are some of the criteria a project must meet for you to consider it?
Has to be gold and silver. That can be like the one we're doing now in the US. It's actually a copper mine, and gold and silver are a byproduct. Similar thing we did with the Talawetta one. So commodity focused, we want producers or near-term producers. So that can be restarts or expansion capacity with the producers. And we're global. Mozambique, Peru, Mexico, South Africa. And that's where we really can take advantage of our team's experience, and especially with our investment manager, Endeavor Financial. We know how to structure in these companies. We know how to ensure we're getting the right security. We know how to be able to get the money out of those countries as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So then what's your final pitch to investors? Why should they consider getting on board with Empress?
It's a really interesting time for us. We're trading at such a significant discount to our NAV and compared to the peers in the sector. We have the cash flow coming in now in a meaningful way. So there's absolute potential for a re-rate. There's, we have the benefits of what a royalty and streaming company are, the larger ones, but there's much more attractive entry points to join Empress.
All right. So there you have it. Empress Royalty at the inflection point for more growth. That was the CEO, Alexandra Woudier-Sharon. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.